Welcome to the health benefits of seaweed. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope everybody can see the screen with the PowerPoint presentation on it. Let's get started because it is 12 o'clock. Thank you once again for joining us. So today's event is sponsored by Korea Agro-Fisheries and Food Trade Corporation. I will be the presenter today for the presentation, and afterwards, if you stay throughout the entire presentation, I can send you a continuing education unit for your CDR credit. Currently, A&D is under some web redesign, but they basically told me that they will be approving this as one CEU credit. So I will be presenting today. My name is Brooke Dikowski. I am a dietitian, and we do have two panelists on the line with us today. The first, Bruce Horn, he's a representative from a small natural snack food company. He supplies seaweed-based snacks to retailers including Whole Foods and Sprouts. He's been in the industry for over 30 years and primarily sells natural and organic foods. Bruce, are you on the line with us right now?
I am. Thank you.
And do you want to introduce yourself a little more for us and explain kind of what brought on this presentation today?
Well, my background, I've been in the food industry for over 30 years, and I've been selling healthy foods, primarily natural and organic foods. And as a parent with young children, I'm bothered by the fact that natural food and healthy-based foods are not always available to kids. So one of the reasons why I got into this industry in the first place was to provide healthier foods for our kids. Um, I have kids that attend public schools right now, and one of the biggest challenges they have is finding healthy snacks. So I think you'll learn more about that in today's meeting.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. And we also have Charles Lee on the line. Um, I'm not sure if he's going to be talking much today, but he might be around to answer questions at the end. But he's a representative from Wubu International Company. The company's mission is to provide their customers with best tasting and healthiest food products available from Korea. So we are specifically talking about seaweed from Korea. And some kind of interesting information to know about that is that a lot of concern has come out recently about the radiation within the water and seaweed supply, whereas Korea has been testing their water and radiation levels, and they've found them to be completely safe. So that's something that you would definitely want to consider before purchasing certain seaweed products in addition to seafood on the marketplace at this time. Okay, so we're going to start with our webinar objectives. So, of course, you want to learn the nutrient content of Korean seaweed, understanding the health benefits, gain knowledge as to why seaweed is such a healthy snack choice. I know that Bruce was talking about it's important for children to really increase healthy snack choices in the schools and at home. We'll talk about a couple different populations and why seaweed is a great snack choice. And then just fun and new ways to eat seaweed snacks. So I hope that covers some new topics for our listeners today. So we're going to start with the basics, just the nutrient content of laver seaweed. So there are quite a few different types of seaweed. So today we're specifically talking about laver. And within 100 grams of this type of seaweed, you can see the calories is quite low. There's actually a significant amount of protein, carbohydrates, lipids are quite low. The water content, of course, because it's seaweed and it's dried, is going to be on the lower side. But what's nice is that there is fiber in the seaweed, which, of course, as Americans, we don't receive enough fiber, most of us. What's great about seaweed is the mineral content. We have lots of minerals in our seaweed, calcium, phosphorus, just a teeny bit of sodium, but we could see the potassium levels are quite high, and it's a great source of folic acid and iodine as well. We'll talk about those in a bit and kind of which target audiences that would benefit the most. And then we have the vitamin content. So we can see it's a rich source of vitamin A, of vitamin B12, has a lot of beta carotene in it, a little bit of vitamin C, a little bit of vitamin E, and some vitamin K. I'm not going to spend too much time because most of our listeners are in the nutrition field. You know kind of what the benefits are to each of these mineral vitamin on their own. Just to give you an idea, of course, seaweed is what we call a nutrient-dense superfood. It's kind of this trend term that we've been hearing a lot about recently in the food industry. And basically, it just means that it's chock full of nutrition. So to give you an idea, comparing it to other foods, the dietary fiber, laver has about 16 times more than cabbage, comparing the same 100 grams. Beta carotene 3 times more than carrots, which we tend to think of when we think of beta carotene. It has 9 times more iron than pork and about 3 times more calcium than milk. This is a wonderful one to point out, especially because there's so much of the population that is lactose intolerant. And I'm sure as a dietitian, you have clients that come in concerned about their calcium intake and not being able to consume regular cow's milk. This is a great source, not only for adults, but for children as well. So here we're just talking about some of the benefits of the nutrients found in the Korean seaweed. Here we have our vitamins. Vitamin A, of course, plays a role in nighttime vision, bone growth, reproduction, cell division, and cell differentiation. I'm just going to touch on these, as I said again. Most of us are in the nutrition field, so I don't want to repeat any information you already know. Vitamin C helps the body maintain healthy skin, tendons, ligaments, and blood vessels. Also helps in wound healing, forming scar tissue. Then we have vitamin B12 and fiber. Once again, just to acknowledge that it's a fiber-rich food, it's so important. Most of the snack food products on the marketplace right now lack fiber. And as we all know, fiber plays such an important role in reducing risk of cancer, colon cancer specifically, helping to lower cholesterol, helping reduce risk of diverticulitis, and just quite important to increase in the diet. So it's wonderful to have another snack choice on the marketplace that we know is high in fiber. So of course it's rich in calcium, as I mentioned before, and then also potassium, which is great. And magnesium does have rich magnesium content. What I'd now like to talk about is the iodine. It's sometimes been a concern that it is a high iodine food, yet iodine is extremely important, specifically for mothers. Severe iodine deficiency in mothers has been associated with miscarriages, stillbirth, preterm delivery, and congenital abnormalities. So it's quite important. And these children of mothers with severe iodine deficiency during pregnancy can suffer from mental retardation, problems with growth and hearing and speech. Um, it gets even worse if, depending on the level of deficiency, whether it be mild, moderate, or severe. Typically, here in the United States, we only see mild iodine deficiency, but even mild iodine deficiency, as you could see on the bottom of this slide, has been associated with low intelligence in children. So, of course, anything we can do to counteract this possible concern from happening would be great. And so, if you do work with the prenatal population, this would be a great snack choice, specifically if you're working with, for example, gestational diabetics, because it is the number one high risk issue in our pregnant population in the United States. It would be an excellent snack choice for these clients to be eating seaweed. So it's something to take into consideration with that population as well. And of course, all of my references, if you're interested, are at the bottom of each PowerPoint slide. And I do have a reference list at the end as well, just to make sure everybody can research the information on their own if they are interested in further looking up the information after the webinar. So let's talk for a second about why seaweed is such a healthy choice. Research confirms that seaweed contains a variety of vitamins and nutrients that we just talked about, but specifically a study in 2011 reported that some of the proteins in seaweed could serve as better source of bioactive peptides than those in milk products. Just to give you some background, bioactive peptides reduce blood pressure and boost heart health. As most of the dietitians out there know, anything that involves heart health is important, especially because cardiovascular disease has been the leading cause of death in the United States for many, many years now. Research data shows a strong correlation with seaweed intake and reduction in inflammation, premenstrual syndrome symptoms, and even the growth of tumors. This is from a nutrition expert at UCLA. I do see a lot of clients with rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, inflammation from different reasons, but we can also think of inflammation in the arteries as well. Most of us recommend omega-3 supplements for this, but the compounds found in seaweed can also benefit and supplement that omega-3 in the diet, which is really wonderful. Seaweed is also rich in calcium and magnesium, which I did mention before. This has been shown to reduce spinal bone loss, lowering the risk of osteoporosis. So in your Asian, Caucasian cultural groups that are at higher risk for osteoporosis, this is definitely a great snack choice for them. Even for people that have already been diagnosed to help maintain bone density, this would be a great snack choice. Seaweed has anti-inflammatory properties and is recommended for heart health and brain development. So now I'm going to get more into the nitty-gritty of what's found in seaweed and why I keep telling you it's so healthy. Specifically, we could look at the color. And I know that working with younger children, a lot of us use the phrase eat the rainbow, eat the colors in the rainbow, because typically if a food is naturally rich in color, it's naturally rich in nutrition. So working with smaller children and telling them to eat foods that are rich in red colors and orange colors and green colors are fantastic. Of course, seaweed is a rich green color, and that's primarily due to the chlorophyll pigments, along with other common pigments like carotenoids. And these pigments are known to be medicinal. They're rich in secondary metabolites, which include alkaloids, glycosides, flavonoids, saponins, tannins, steroids, related active metabolites, which are great medicinal value, which is fantastic. To be more specific, because I don't just want to leave you with some words that might not ring a bell. So tannins have been found to have antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic effects, in addition to anti-inflammatory, anti-ulcer, and antioxidant properties, which of course we can use for possible therapeutic applications. Saponins are known to produce inhibitory effects on inflammation. Some of these biological properties include antimicrobial or anti-inflammatory hemolytic effects. So, this is a lot of really wonderful nutrient-dense food that can actually be used for preventative care. If we know somebody is at risk for, inflammation, if we know somebody is at risk for cancer and needs more antioxidant rich foods, it's really, and as most of us in the nutrition field are understanding more, we're using foods as a source of preventative medicine. So how can we educate the population about this? And I'm hoping that you can learn some specific terms from this webinar to help you market seaweed more in the marketplace, because it is so nutrient dense and has so many wonderful benefits. So flavonoids, the major group of phenolic compounds reported, for their antimicrobial, antiviral, and I'm probably not going to say this word correctly, but I'm going to give it a try, spasmolytic activity. Flavonoids in human diet may reduce the risk of various cancers, as well as preventing menopausal symptoms. This is another group that I see quite often in my office. Women going through menopausal symptoms and are very frustrated with the lack of uh, homeopathic, natural resources to help reduce the symptoms that they're experiencing, which are quite strong and interrupt their daily activity. So, this is something really wonderful for them, because they don't want to feel hot flashes. They don't want to feel all of these things. So if you can give them something to help, seaweed would be a great choice. Flavonoids, on the other hand, are potent water-soluble antioxidants and free radical scavengers. We all know free radicals lead to increased risk for cancer. So this is something that would fight cancer and reduce the risk of oxidative cell damage. So some other benefits of seaweed that you may not have thought of. In a recent study with Japanese women, seaweed intake was associated independently with a decreased prevalence of allergic rhinitis, which is, stuffy nose, all of that bad stuff. Bringing the conclusion that a diet high in seaweed, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus might be associated with a decreased prevalence of allergic rhinitis. We talked about this a little before, but just to kind of give you some more detail as far as how seaweed plays a role in fighting against cancer. The cell walls of the marine algae are rich in sulfated polysaccharides, such as fucoidins in green algae, carrageenans in red algae, and ulvins in green algae. So we would be the green algae. And these sulfated polysaccharides exhibit many beneficial biological activities such as anticoagulant, antiviral, antioxidant, anti-cancer, and immunomodulating activities. So, of course, what stands out to me as a dietitian would be the anticoagulant. This is something if you have a client that might not yet be on a warfarin or uh, anticoagulant medication, because of course you don't want to give them anything with rich in vitamin K. But for somebody who might be at risk for blood clots, seaweed could be a great, possible snack choice for them. I do have a hyperlink that I'd like to share here. So let's take a look at this really quickly. I have to get out of the lecture, so excuse me for 1 second as I do. And then after we go to this hyperlink, we're going to get right back to the lecture again. Sorry, for some reason this is taking a little longer, so let's go. Open hyperlink, here we go. Oh, this is just an article if you're interested in looking up more information about the radiation and your concern with it, about the Korean government researching the radiation level. So this is something else you can look into. But as I said again, they are testing the water radiation, the radiation in the seaweed, and they're very confident that their radiation levels are safe and low. Okay, so I'm going to get right back to the lecture here. All right. Tested marine algae varieties demonstrated low lipid contents and proved to be rich source of dietary fiber, meaning that it's, low fat, high fiber, can't get better in the nutrition world. All essential amino acids were detected in the seaweed species tested. Of course, for vegan, vegetarian clients, this could be another supplemental food in their diet to help them reach their protein intake for the day. The fatty acid distribution of seaweed products showed high levels of omega-3 fatty acid and demonstrated a nutritionally ideal omega-6 omega-3 fatty acid ratio. This, of course, as health educators in our population, is so important to stress that we increase our consumption of omega-3s to help with inflammation in the arteries, reduce risk of cardiovascular disease, and help our clients be the healthiest they can be. So talking about omega-3s really quickly, I just wanted to kind of talk a little more about why omega-3s are so important. Of course, we've heard a lot in the media about how wonderful they are, but just to kind of give you some more wonderful things to talk about as far as omega-3 fatty acids, of course, they can help lower triglycerides, improves blood pressure, helps with other conditions, including rheumatoid arthritis, depression, and many more. They're an essential fatty acid, meaning, of course, we need to consume them from the diet. Our body does not create them or make them. And let's see, I have some more information here. This is something I found that was quite interesting about omega-3, because we will be talking a little later about children and why seaweed snacks are such a wonderful choice for children. I found this to be quite relevant for the webinar today. So in a study from University of Maryland Medical Center, and it was on their website, children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which we're seeing an increase, may have low levels of certain essential fatty acids in their diet, which is quite an interesting finding. So they took a clinical study of nearly 100 boys with low levels of omega-3 fatty acids, and they found that these children had more learning and behavioral problems than boys with normal omega-3 fatty acid levels. Of course, more research is needed, but this is quite interesting information if you think about it. As our diet is deteriorating in the United States, as there's more childhood obesity, poor diet, poor nutrient intake, we're seeing an increase in certain diseases, we're seeing an increase in diabetes, we're seeing an increase in all these things, but we're also seeing an increase in ADHD, and this can be a contributing factor. So of course, when thinking about the different groups of people that would benefit the most from seaweed, of course, children would be a wonderful group to really try to focus and increase seaweed intake. It's a vegetable, it's healthy, it's rich in omega-3s. So I thought that this was quite wonderful information to have. And definitely they would benefit from seaweed snacks. So this is a brief slide on fats. Most of us know out there in the nutrition world, the saturated trans fats are the bad fats, and the monounsaturated fats are the good fats. Of course, this has been drilled into our brains from day one, and it's so important to encourage the unsaturated fatty acids. And the reason why this slide is here is because I want to remind you of the good and the bad fats before I talk about the fats found in seaweed. So it briefly talks about, the importance of each, or, for example, saturated fats increase risk of heart disease, so we want to limit those in the diet. And if some of you have been keeping up with the news recently, currently we're trying to eliminate trans fats completely from not just restaurants, which has already been passed, but from all foods in the grocery store. So that's something that's coming into play. There was an article recently on CNN about how the government is really trying to focus on eliminating all trans fats, which is great, because there's really no need, hopefully, unless you're planning on taking a trip to outer space and need something to keep on your shelf for many, many years. But in reality, trans fats, there's no place for them on the marketplace. And this should definitely be a good win for the nutrition world. Okay, so of course, all fats are not the same. Our unsaturated fats are the healthy fats. These, of course, good fats are healthy because they improve blood cholesterol, they ease inflammation, stabilize heart rhythms, and play a number of other beneficial roles. And they include the omega-6, the omega-3, which we had just talked about. This is a little more information about why these fats are so healthy for you. I'm going to let you read this on your own because I don't want to repeat information that you probably have already heard before, but this is just to remind you how important healthy fat is in the diet. For children especially, as we know, within the first years of life, healthy fat is so important for brain development, in addition to growth as children grow up. And even as adults, we definitely need to choose healthy fats. So let's talk about the type of fat that is used in seaweed. Um, so right now, the Korean seaweed is being roasted with rice bran oil and another oil, which we're going to get to in a second. But rice bran oil is extremely, extremely healthy. Rice is, of course, a plant. The outer layer of the grain, the bran, the oil is made from the bran, and it's a healthy oil in Japan, Asia, particularly India. It's used for treating in some countries diabetes and high blood pressure, so it's used as a functional food, meaning that they believe there is a health benefit to it. And you could see at the bottom here, I actually break down the mono, the poly, and the saturated fat content. This is very similar to another healthy oil, like olive oil. And so this should be looked at as a very healthy oil. Now, I have another hyperlink on here, which I'm not going to go to. I'm not going to go to right now, but basically, Dr. Oz had a special on rice bran oil and its benefits. Specifically, he was talking about the benefits of rice bran oil and weight loss and weight maintenance. If you're interested in this, I can post this link at the end, but I don't necessarily think that we need to watch it. But it is becoming a new oil on the marketplace. People are recognizing that it is really healthy. And within a few years, I have no doubt that people are going to be using rice bran oil more frequently, more often than they are now. I personally, as a dietitian, haven't heard too much about it until this point, but all the research that I've done only points to healthy oil. So, of course, healthy oil is good oil and something that we can eat in moderation in our diet. The other oil used in roasting the seaweed is the sunflower oil. Of course, it's from sunflower. It's been used for constipation, lowering the LDL cholesterol. And some people apply sunflower oil directly to their skin. There's all kinds of healing powers they feel. But of course, what I wanted to mention again, just like I did with the rice bran oil, is the breakdown of the types of fatty acids. So, of course, here we have mostly monounsaturated fats, which we know is the healthy one, the poly, and then the saturated is quite low. So once again, 2 healthy oils are used to roast the seaweed. All right, so now we're in the more interesting part of this webinar. I want to share with you kind of why this is such an important snack choice to get out in the especially the childhood population, but to encourage adults as well. I mean, most people can benefit from seaweed, but today I'm really going to focus for a second on childhood um, snack choices just because our presenters are really interested in increasing seaweed in the childhood marketplace. And so now we're going to talk about why it would be such a huge benefit to get seaweed onto the shelves where kids can reach it. And we're going to talk about accessibility, specifically in the school districts, why it would be great to have it there, all that good stuff. So let me just start here with, of course, the problem right now, which is approximately 17%, and this rounds out to about 12.5 million of children and adolescents aged 2 to 19 are obese in the United States. This is a map we can see from the New England Journal of Medicine. This information is taken from the CDC, so it's very new. Since 1980, obesity prevalence among children and adolescents has tripled. You know, I don't need to tell you again that obesity and childhood obesity is an epidemic. You probably hear it on a daily basis being in the nutrition world. So, of course, who could benefit from seaweed? Children. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, they reviewed 18 studies that found a significant inverse relationship with fruit and vegetable intake and adiposity, which we know is fat in the body. So, what this tells us is that intake of fruit and vegetables is inversely related to adiposity in children. And so we need to get children to eat more fruits and vegetables. Seaweed is a vegetable, a healthy vegetable, a low calorie, healthy snack choice. So please help me get seaweed out there. Encourage your clients to eat more of it because it's very, very healthy. So let's talk about why seaweed isn't already a healthy choice in the school districts. And actually, our panelist, Bruce, you're going to come in and talk a little bit in a second. I'm just going to briefly introduce this, and then he's going to talk a little bit more about it because he's been working extremely hard to try to get healthier snack choices in the food section of LAUSD, but they've been turning down his company over and over again, and we'll explain what's been going on. So, just a little background on October 28, 2003, the Los Angeles Unified School District Board adopted the Childhood Obesity Prevention Motion, which is good. And nutritional standards for food sold to students on campus were established as well as other activities to improve the nutritional health of our students. This is all good so far. Listings of approved and unapproved snack foods for students are available on their website. And they created certain motions. One of them is called SB12. And this is something that, Bruce, you're going to come in and talk to us a little more about. So if you're ready, can you explain a little more about this SB12?
Well, SB 12 is a policy that was put out by specifically the LA school system, the LA Unified School System. And what it does, if your item is categorized as a snack, then it has to fit the criteria that you see listed on this page. And while seaweed is such a healthy item, it does not qualify based on point A because it is roasted with oil. And even though our oil is very healthy, it does not fall within the guidelines of point A, which is the percentage of calories from fat.
And I actually,
So
I
the
have a
dilemma,
PowerPoint. Let me see. And I'm going to go back, but this is basically explaining what you just said. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Continue.
so the dilemma that we have is we have this very healthy product. It's far healthier than most of the items that are currently approved for the school nutrition program. And yet, because seaweed is so light, even the very small amount of oil that is in the product, it does not qualify based on the specifics of SB 12. So that's our challenge. That's been our dilemma. Here we have this great healthy product, but we can't get it into the LA school system, and that to me is a tragedy.
And have you talked to anybody in the school districts? Have they given you any explanation or any help? The dietitians specifically, have they done anything to help you get your foot in the door?
No, the wall that we walked into is SB 12 because of the um, because of that point A and SB12, um, they will not consider seaweed. So we're stuck.
And why won't they consider you seaweed?
Uh, just because the percentage of calories to fat does not fall within the guidelines.
So even though it's a vegetable, because it's roasted, there's some type of barrier for you to get this food, this great healthy food product, into the school district.
Yeah, the bottom line is the product, the calories from fat exceeds the metric that the state has set under SB12, which
Hmm.
shows up in your formula. In other words, it can't exceed 35%, and in our product, it is 60% based on the formula.
Right, and I'm showing that slide here to our webinar audience. So within a package of seaweed, in one serving, you could see there's 30 calories. There's 2 grams of fat, which of course we know is 18 calories. And dividing this number, we get 60%, which is far more than the 35 under SB12. But when we take away the SB12 35% label, and as a dietitian, you look at 30 calories, that's nothing. That's less than a piece of fruit. And it's so sad that this restriction has gotten in the way of seaweed being allowed into the LAUSD food snack choice. Of course, we just learned that the type of fat used, which is the rice bran oil and the sunflower oil, are both healthy choices. So it's like telling our children, oh, you can't eat healthy fat, which is just so silly. Children should be eating healthy fat. They should be eating healthy protein. They should be eating healthy carbohydrates. They need a healthy amount of all of our macronutrients as long as it's the right choice. So it must have been, and I'm assuming continues to be quite frustrating for you um, to hear back from the food district or the school districts, excuse me, and get this same wall of no, 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 when if you really look at it from an intellectual, educated point of view, you see that it's quite a healthy food choice.
Yeah, if I might add, what's interesting is we've taken this to a couple of the dietitians that are responsible or that are part of the LA Unified School District, and they love the product. We brought them samples; they love the samples. The problem, like I said, is SB12.
Okay, so let's look a little more into SB12. Okay, so sorry, I skipped some PowerPoints a little bit, so I'm going to go back. So if you're interested in more about SB12, you can go to LAUSD and you can look up their SB12 regulations. Um, there's a simple link that I will also add to the lecture later on. I have that here in a hyperlink, but I don't think we need to go to it. I basically cut and paste all the information here into this slide. So what this states is that the only food authorized for sale to students at the district outside the federal school meal program need to meet these following nutrient standards. So you see here, the first one, A, no more than 35% of total calories from fat. Now, this is really important to take into consideration here. This doesn't include nuts and seeds. Now, as we know, nuts and seeds have very healthy oils, so they are considered healthy fats. Why wouldn't the school district also include healthy unsaturated oils, unsaturated fats? This would solve so many problems. I don't know why, and I don't know why they're putting up such a fight for this, but this is why there's something not working in the school districts because certain rules and regulations are being put in place that don't make sense. Okay, so B, no more than 10% of total calories from saturated fat, including trans fats. C, no more than 35% of added sugar by weight, and D, no more than 600 milligrams of sodium per serving. And as a dietitian, I'm very proud that we are moving forward. I'm not saying that we're not, getting there, but we're just not getting there fast enough. We have to, if we see a problem, we have to band together and we have to fix it. We have to advocate for better nutrition in our school districts. And this is just one example, a very important example of healthy food not being able to be available because of some silly regulation that just doesn't make sense. So, though the motion excludes healthy nuts and seeds from the fat criteria, it does not exclude healthy oils, as I just said. This limits the snack options for our children in the school districts. Children should have a variety of snacks. They shouldn't just be provided, the same thing every day. What they're currently being provided, goldfish and honey grams or honey made graham crackers. I mean, let's compare these for just a second to seaweed. Do they even compare? In my mind, knowing the nutrition content of goldfish, I mean, this is just, I, I'm speechless almost. Goldfish is a highly processed food. Um, it's just not the best food choice for our children. I'm not saying that they should get rid of it, but why choose goldfish? Why approve goldfish and tell seaweed no? It just doesn't make sense. So we need to be more proactive, advocate for healthier food choices, and figure out what is going on. Why our children are not getting healthier choices in LAUSD. Just to give you some more information about the importance of access to fresh fruits and vegetables and healthy snack choices in the school districts, a little more research behind it. There was a study that showed that about 15 middle schools participated in a randomized study, split into an intervention school or control school group. The results show that the intervention group looked at student consumption of fruit, juice, and vegetables during school lunch. They increased by increasing the fruit and vegetable availability and accessibility in the middle school lunch program and snack bar. I mean, this is not rocket science. You make it available, children will eat it. Children are very adventurous. They will eat new foods, they will try new foods. They may not like everything, but just because it's there, it's going to increase their possible, decision to eat more of it. Of course, increasing fruits and vegetables is extremely important. Seaweed is a vegetable. Why not offer it in the schools? It's just an easy, simple choice, and it's the right choice. So how we can apply this information to child nutrition professionals, which I hope some of you are out there listening. What we can, apply is that availability and promotion of fruits and vegetables in the school environment can increase consumption during school lunch and snack times. Of course, this slide we already looked over as Bruce was talking about why SB 12 is not working. You can see the problem here is that the bottom line, the 30 calories per serving to the 2 grams of fat, even though it's the healthy fat to seaweed, equals a high percentage, 60%, and that's why it continues to be blocked as an LAUSD food snack choice. Even though it's loaded with lots of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and healthy fatty acids. So it's really great food choice for kids. So I'd just like to wrap it up before we start taking some questions. And I know that you can, at the end, I can invite people to ask questions, so I will do that in a second. But as a public health dietitian, and that's kind of what I entitle myself, I can't think of a healthier, easier snack idea to add to not only a child's diet, but for pregnant women, for people that are interested in maintaining a healthy weight, for people that are looking for an anti-inflammatory food choice, for people who are interested in anticoagulant effect, for people that are interested in antiviral, anti-ulcer. I mean, there's so many benefits to seaweed, and I hope that you can take some of these home with you today and implement them into your practice, whether it be in a hospital setting. Maybe you can get it into the hospitals, whether it be in a school setting, which we're really encouraging, or even in your home within your own family. This is a really great snack choice. Seaweed is a tasty treat packed with tons of nutrition, provides very little calories, making it an outstanding low fat snack choice. Of course, you can eat it in very many different ways. You can eat it plain, you can chop it up and put it on salads, you can actually use it to marinate foods with. And we actually have a cookbook that has lots of different ideas in it, but it's a great choice. Seaweed snacks don't only come in plain seaweed flavor. Actually, my favorite is the teriyaki, which is a great flavor. There's also the teriyaki. There's also a spicy flavor. And Bruce, what other flavors are there? I'm blanking here. Are you still with us? Maybe we lost him. Okay, so they also, I know, have come out with an almond seaweed choice. So that's another one. Thank you so much for participating. This is the end of our session. So I'm going to open it up to questions right now. And I hope that there are people still out there listening and have questions. So let me just open this up. And I guess you could ask questions through typing it in, and then I would receive the question, and then I can respond based on that. So if you're in the webinar, you can go to your control panel, and you just tap on the questions tab, ask your question, and you could send it to either all of us or you could send it privately. So this is your time now to send questions in if there's any questions related to what we talked about today.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Um, I just wanted to say, as dietitians, you know the importance of making healthy snacks more available to the general population. And we want just to expand the knowledge base on the health benefits of seaweed, and we believe this forum is a great first step. The only other comment I would make that's ironic is that the three largest retailers today, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Sprouts, they all carry roasted seaweed, and it's some of the fastest selling items in the entire store. So even though you see these are the leaders in the health food industry, it's just ironic that our own public schools will not consider an item like this.
And you also, I believe, when we were talking earlier, told me that there's specific groups of people that really enjoy seaweed, and children happen to be one of those leading groups.
Well, it's interesting, I say all the time, how many foods, especially vegetables, can you offer to young children that they'll eat happily? And it's so interesting. You can hand a child a tray of seaweed, and they will happily eat it without question, and they love the taste. So here's an item that tastes good, that's good for them, and yet we have the challenge of being able to make it available in the most natural setting possible, which would be the school nutrition programs.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. I was also trying to share the different flavors you have. I know you have a variety of products. What other products do you
Yeah,
have
I would.
that you think would be, you know,
Yeah,
interesting
yeah,
and
I
that you
was.
share?
Yeah, I was cut off. We've been asked by these same natural food distributors because the items are selling so well, we are adding flavors. So you will see additional flavors like wasabi already in distribution. You'll see brown sugar. You'll see cheddar cheese. You'll see onion. So the flavor profile is expanding at the request of both the retailers and also consumers. They're looking for choice. So why not offer seaweed in all these various flavors instead of having them choose various flavors of potato chips and tortilla chips, which, as we know, is not nearly as healthy.
Right. No, that's great. And you also have an almond product that I really enjoy. Do you want to talk about that for a second, just as we're waiting for any last minute questions?
Yeah, we have launched some additional seaweed-based snacks. We have crunch items where we take seaweed and we flash fry it in a glutinous rice bran, and it creates a almost like a tortilla chip uh, taste. Which again, we've sampled these at fancy food shows, and the response has been fantastic. And then we have a new one that's jumped to the top of the list, which is, we call it our almond crisp, which is two layers of seaweed, and in between there's slivered almonds and sesame seeds. And that one has been a big hit also.
Well, it sounds like you have a wonderful variety of snack foods that are healthy and nutritious that you can possibly offer to the school district, in addition for dietitians to encourage their clients to eat these as a healthy snack choice. So I'm glad that you shared the different products you have in the marketplace right now.
Yeah, the one last thing I would say is not all seaweed is created equal in the way that it's processed. So you do have to be careful. Not every seaweed is roasted with a healthy oil like rice bran oil. Some of the products you see out there are made in corn oil, so you do have to look. You do have to read the label. I
Right.
would say the company that I'm associated with, we only use rice bran oil, and our products are non-GMO and gluten-free.
Right, and thank you for sharing that because as most of us know, corn and soy are just out of control as far as genetically modified. We don't know what that's going to bring our population in the future. We don't know what the health side effects, excuse me, are. And it's quite dangerous to think about how we can possibly be affected by these genetically modified organisms. So to know that it's non-GMO is really great to share, especially when we're feeding it to our children, which, we want to give them the healthiest and best choice possible. Okay, well, I don't think we have any questions, and I'm hoping that's a good sign that we've answered all of your questions through this webinar. Thank you so much for participating. I will look at the list of registrants, and if you are a dietitian, I will send you within the next week or two a CEU credit for your CDR profile and nutrition plan. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email is right here. And once again, thank you for attending our webinar today. We really hope that you can encourage your clients to choose healthy snack foods like seaweed and also advocate, especially if you have children, whether it be an LAUSD or a private school or a charter school, to put seaweed on their snack list, to get it in the school district, to make it available because it's such a wonderful snack choice. So thank you again for joining our session. Have a wonderful day. And we hope that we can make seaweed a healthy snack choice soon. All right. Bye now.